Have you ever noticed how everything feels different once the lights go out? The same hallway that seemed harmless a moment ago suddenly feels threatening. Every creak, every shadow, every flicker of movement makes your heart race. But why? Why do we, intelligent, modern humans, still feel fear in the dark, just like our ancient ancestors huddled around campfires thousands of years ago? Tonight, we're diving into the science, psychology, and mystery behind our fear of the dark. And trust me, by the end, you'll see that this fear isn't as irrational as it seems. Let's start with something simple. Darkness means uncertainty. When light disappears, our most powerful sense, vision, shuts down. We can't see what's around us, who's there, or what might be lurking in the shadows, and our brains hate uncertainty. Psychologists say humans are prediction machines. We constantly try to anticipate what's about to happen, but in the dark, that system breaks. We lose control. Our brains start filling in the blanks, and often they fill them with danger. That's why a random sound in a dark room feels threatening, even though it's just your house settling. Your brain would rather assume the worst and be wrong than assume safety and be eaten by a predator. And that brings us to our evolutionary roots. For our ancestors, night was the most dangerous time. No artificial light, no flashlights, no phones. Just moonlight and fire. Predators hunted at night. Lions, leopards, snakes. Things that could kill you were out there, invisible. So humans who were afraid of the dark were actually more likely to survive. Fear kept them cautious, alert, and alive. Over generations, that instinct stuck with us, even though today, the scariest thing in most bedrooms is the Wi-Fi signal dropping. But here's where it gets interesting. The fear of the dark isn't just about survival. It's about how our brains process fear itself. When we sense danger, a small region deep inside the brain called the amygdala lights up. Think of it as your built-in alarm system. It doesn't wait for proof. It reacts first, fast and strong. It floods your body with adrenaline, quickens your heartbeat, sharpens your hearing, and gets you ready to fight, flee, or freeze. In darkness, when your eyes can't confirm what's happening, the amygdala goes into overdrive. It says, something's wrong, something's out there. Even if logic tells you there's nothing there, biology doesn't care. You feel it, that knot in your stomach, that urge to turn on every light in the house. There's actually a term for this, nyctophobia, the extreme fear of the dark. And it's surprisingly common, especially in children. Studies show that around 40% of kids experience it at some point, but even adults aren't immune. Think about horror movies. Directors know this instinct all too well. They use darkness not because it's cheap, but because it's primal. Darkness makes you imagine. The monster you create in your head is always scarier than anything they could show on screen. And sometimes, that's exactly what our brains do in real life. When visibility drops, the part of your brain that deals with imagination, the visual cortex, doesn't go offline. Instead, it starts filling in the blanks with possibilities. A jacket hanging on a chair becomes a person. The wind brushing past the window becomes footsteps. The dark lets imagination become fear. But there's another layer. Cultural conditioning. From a young age, we're told that the dark hides danger, monsters under the bed, ghosts in the shadows. Night equals fear. Even language reflects it. Dark times, dark thoughts, into the darkness. So psychologically, we've linked darkness with the unknown, and the unknown with threat. Now, here's a question. What about people who don't fear the dark? Are they just braver? Not necessarily. Their brains simply process uncertainty differently. Some people's amygdalas don't overreact to missing visual information. Others have trained themselves, through repeated exposure or mindfulness, to remain calm when their senses can't explain everything. In fact, experiments show that when people spend time in controlled darkness, like sensory deprivation tanks, the fear often fades and is replaced by peace. Once the brain realizes there's no danger, it starts to relax. But that first instinct, that flash of tension, never fully goes away. It's hardwired. Let's look at something even deeper: how fear of the dark shaped human society. Before electricity, nighttime defined how people lived. Villages stayed close together, fires burned bright, and night watchmen patrolled the streets. The rhythm of life, sleeping, waking, working, was built around our fear of what couldn't be seen. Even religion and mythology echo this. Almost every ancient culture had gods or spirits representing darkness and light. Darkness was chaos, danger, and death. Light was safety, truth, and hope. Our stories, our language, our art, all grew from that primal divide between what's seen and unseen. And though we've filled our cities with artificial light, our bodies haven't caught up. Our circadian rhythms, the natural sleep-wake cycle, still respond to darkness by slowing us down, making us more vulnerable and alert at the same time. That combination, tired but on edge, is why lying in bed with the lights off can make your imagination go wild. You know that feeling when you're half asleep and you suddenly sense someone watching you? That's your brain's old survival system kicking in, scanning for threats even while you rest. It's not paranormal. It's prehistoric. But there's something strangely poetic about all this. Fear of the dark isn't just fear of what's out there. It's fear of what's inside, of being alone with our thoughts, our memories, our imaginations. In the dark, there's nothing to distract you. You can hear your heartbeat, your breathing, your mind whispering all the things you ignore during the day. And maybe that's why we still keep nightlights, leave TVs on, or scroll endlessly before bed. Not just to chase away the shadows, but to quiet the deeper ones within ourselves. Still, darkness isn't always the enemy. Without it, we'd never see the stars. Psychologists say one of the best ways to overcome the fear of darkness is to spend time in it, slowly, calmly, with awareness. Notice the sounds, the stillness, the subtle details you miss in daylight. The more you face it, the less your mind will need to invent monsters to fill the silence. After all, darkness isn't dangerous by itself. It's just the canvas where your imagination paints its wildest fears. So the next time you turn off the lights and feel that familiar chill, remember, it's not weakness, it's instinct. A whisper from your ancestors saying, "Be careful, you can't see what's out there." But also remember, you've evolved far beyond the cave. You can face the dark and find calm within it, because sometimes the scariest thing about the dark isn't what's hiding in it. It's how clearly it lets you see yourself.